Happy to support.
We're live in the Hive. Welcome to today's show where we'll be popping off with Joanna. Keep your trigger fingers on those emojis to show your virtual love. And please welcome our host, the only person I know who is genuinely enthusiastic without eating 8 cups of coffee, Navah.
Wow, how good is that music? Pumped up to the loudest, right? Pull up the volume up in here. And just, I'm so excited for today. It's National Unicorn Day. We have a couple of unicorns in the house. Everybody's a unicorn, but today the focus is on Joanna Popper. All right. Yeah, and we're actually in the same place right now too. So we're in South Florida. So she's not from there. Well, she doesn't live there, but we're representing the Hive in South Florida.
Physical distancing here, so I'm here now.
Social distancing, exactly. I'm so excited to have you on. This is so great. Joanna has extensive experience in media and marketing, and now she's global head of VR location-based entertainment at HP. So over 20 years of experience. That's amazing. And what's really great is that you use a lot of your experience in new emerging technology, which isn't always easy. And also HP has their 81st anniversary, which 81 years.
Yes,
I mean, how many companies can say that?
81 years, and look so young, right? 81 years.
81. And the craziest thing is I was just looking it up and I came across the connection between HP and Disney. I mean, Fantasia. Walt Disney bought audio equipment from HP back in the day when Fantasia first started. I mean, I never knew that.
Yeah.
So
it's a really beautiful legacy story. It is, HP was founded. It was the first company, really the founding story of Silicon Valley. 2 founders creating technology in a garage for Walt Disney for the movie Fantasia. So really beautiful legacy story around both computing as well as media and entertainment. And today, if you do go to Palo Alto, you can still, the garage is actually historically protected. So you can go to the garage if you're in Palo Alto. And if you come to the offices, the offices are not the original garage, but the offices are basically kept the way that they were years and years and years ago for the founders. You can go to the original boardroom of once we had the campus, you can see the founders' original desks and where they were.
Wow.
And it's really if you go to it's
unbelievable. I'm going there.
Welcome center. Yeah, so it's like
I'm definitely
now
gonna check it out.
Many tech companies, turned into the story of 2 founders in a garage building some great technology. But I guess HP was the first one, so it's a beautiful legacy.
It really is. That's so cool that you're a part of that. I mean, I've been watching you travel. I feel like I know you because of social media and we've met at different conferences, but I see you always all around the world. You're traveling somewhere, you're doing a game, you're doing something fun.
That was not right now.
Right. Fast forward to
today. Virtual reality only.
Well, what's
everyone else
it
staying home as well these days, and physical distancing. But yes, prior to about a month ago, I was traveled quite a bit.
Right. So, what has it been like for you now traveling? How are you doing with that change?
It's a change, but I think the perspective I have is the reason that we're doing this physical distancing is because we're in the midst of this global pandemic, and the most important thing right now around the world is everyone's health and everyone's well-being and everyone's safety. And so all of us doing our part to flatten the curve to give the healthcare workers the best possible chance of fighting for all of us safely and for saving as many people as possible is really where I think where the focus is. And so for me, it's more about the heroes that are the healthcare workers, the heroes that are the transporting food, are making the internet work for us, are making our basics the electricity and telephone lines and all of those things, the government officials who are working to get the right policies in place and leaving their homes because they have to, the people that are getting the voting set up for all of us, for those who have voting coming up, but the biggest of all is just for the healthcare workers who are daily risking their lives. So to be in a situation of luxury where I'm still able to do my job, just basically in an apartment without moving. We have all these, we have many amenities from the internet,
Absolutely.
and all of Zoom and Teams and Skype and virtual reality that allows us to feel like we go other places and feel like we're super connected with people, and we get to learn and connect and create and collaborate across those mediums. I think that's really where my focus is right now, and doing what we can to help out the others.
And the amazing thing is that I can actually say that would be my answer about you for the last month for sure, because whenever I'm looking on a specific topic or on Twitter, I see Joanna Popper, get to know everything about virtual fashion or 360 fashion and tech. And then there's also the virtual collaboration, and you're teaching kids in school. You're doing all sorts of things. You did an event with VR Voice, right?
Yeah,
I think last week.
Yeah, it was a week ago actually. Last Thursday, we did this great event. Bob Klein from VR Voice approached me and approached our team. Really, Mary Kate Mahoney from our team, and said, "Do you want to get involved in this event?" And we just jumped on it. We said yes, we want to do it. We want to support. Let's make it happen. And we had 11 different platforms presented. There were, I think, we were the primary sponsor along with VR Voice, and then Cleanbox, which is certainly very, very topical these days as well, in terms of the importance of having hygiene around our technology, and Connect2 were some supporting sponsors, and Altspace was supporting sponsor with the after party. But what was really impressive was we put the event together in a matter of weeks, probably, I don't know, maybe 10 days, maybe less. I can't remember the exact timeline. And rapidly we had 11 different platforms that wanted to participate, and we ended up with about 1,400 people register.
Wow.
It was running around fast, and it was hours of programming. I think we started at 11 a.m. Eastern and finished around 8 p.m. Eastern, including the Altspace party. And there were so many different companies that presented from. I'm not going to be able to name all 11 right now because I'll probably forget some, so forgive me. But
no, not at all.
Engage.
I'll join in.
Interactive, Trezi. It was Ozone, Rumi,
Big
The
Screen.
Wild.
Which Big Screen?
No, Big Screen didn't present because it was.
Okay.
There was less. Most of them were focused around VR collaboration work, and certainly you can use Big Screen at work.
Right.
The primary target is more around being entertained with friends, or more about social VR. And so it was I think Arcaicus. I'm not sure if I say that right. Arcaicus.
Yeah, the Wild XR.
Yeah, the Wild XR.
Blue.
I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but
yeah, but then whatever it is.
But what's really cool is that there were. Wanda was another one that was around learning. Ozone is a new one, universe, and so there were some Meet in VR is set up as really the meeting collaboration, with the idea that you're going to have a meeting and have that exchange and white paper and whiteboard and do all that with some people. Other ones were more focused on architecture, engineering, construction. How do you do a review of a space virtually, and how do you come together and say, all right, this room looks good, but let's change this and that. Other ones were more about product design review, and another one was really about training medical students, training and surgeons. So, and then Engage is more around is primarily around education, and a lot of and the other really cool thing was that they were from the U.S., they were from Lithuania, from Denmark. It was
global.
France was represented. I mean, they're really
That's
very
unbelievable.
global. Oh, India. There was one from India. So yeah, the one from Lithuania was called Illusion. So just it was a really and then the people that were there were also all from all around the world. We kept doing shout out to say where you're from, and we did all these polls and different questions around what industry are you in, or do you use VR at work, or are you here to find out more about how to use virtual reality and virtual reality collaboration, remote work for your work. And the majority of the people in the polls were there to either use it in their current job or to find out how to make themselves more efficient in the collaboration. And so for me, I think I think that most of us, I'm going to guess a lot of people that are in this room, and that's probably why they're in this room. They're probably strong. Well, I guess I'll ask: is this a room of believers in virtual reality?
Give us some hearts, emojis, or claps, whatever you.
So it looks like a room. It looks like a room of believers. And
I'm a believer.
Yeah, do the song. And so I think what we're seeing is that more and more, internally in my company, from other departments, as well as externally, and hearing more and more people saying, now that we're working remotely, how do we still collaborate? Whether it is around those certain workflows like a design review or an AEC review, or how do I increase retention around my learning, or just today I got a call from we have affinity groups at HP, and the Hispanic affinity group is looking to do a social event, because they were planning some social events for the affinity group, and now they obviously they can't do it together in one room, so they want to do something. So we were talking about maybe they should play something together in the rec room. So we're seeing there's a lot of focus, laser tag, and a lot of interest, even more. And I would say for most of us that are deep in this more underlines the strategy and the beliefs that we already had, right? It's not about okay, now let's pivot and think about something totally different. I would say probably multiplayer, multi-user collaboration is the direction that we were all going to head, and for a variety of reasons, many experiences today are not multi-user, having to do with probably technology and bandwidth and what it's easier to build, but that is the direction that we're going to be going, and that what's happening now is going to accelerate that direction. But it's the vision and that we already were believing in, that we're already working toward. Those of us who are in this industry.
Absolutely. Yeah, you even, not even just from that standpoint for virtual collaboration, you even recently offered time to teach VR to teachers in university, and you recently also taught to 11-year-olds in Portugal. What was that like?
Well, so I mentioned this list of people who I think are being heroes right now, and I think another group that I may not have said before, but definitely the teachers who within a matter of days went from teaching one-to-many in a physical environment to all of a sudden many of them having to pop up right away these digital life, right, and teach children digitally. And then on top of that, all the parents who now are homeschooling, right? Because all of a sudden, a lot of the learning that was happening in schools is now happening at home. And so for parents so parents are now having the regular job that they had of whatever that was, plus whether they worked out of the home or didn't work out of the home, but and then also additionally homeschooling their kids on top of
and a chef too, right?
And a chef, all the things.
Yes,
and so my two parents are professors. Both my parents are professors, and my brother is a professor, and a lot of my some of my friends from growing up are teachers. And so just hearing the stress that they were having, particularly the ones that are teaching sort of K through 12. I had, right when this happened, then I just put something on my LinkedIn saying if anyone wants, me to come in and talk to their class about virtual reality, I'd be happy to do so. And then a bunch of universities reached out right away, and a woman in Portugal with a class of 11-year-olds reached out. So it was really fun to do it with the talk.
The power
so one
of
the universities, we actually did the talk in Altspace, so it was like this. Although it looked a little bit more like a classroom. And then
it was Emerson College, right?
That was Lethbridge in
okay.
Canada. Lethbridge College. It was in Altspace, and then Emerson was in Zoom, and then the 11-year-olds were in Zoom, and then I'm going to do another one for Emerson, and then one for Vancouver. I think next week or in the next 2 weeks. So, but I would definitely, a lot of people in this room have, have strong skill sets and a lot to share. So I would encourage you, if you have any extra time at all, to, put some similar offers out and see how you can help contribute to the kids and the educators who, are really looking for how do they keep the learning going in this new environment, and the skill sets we have and what we can offer really provide something of value right now. And unlike, and I mean, I often get asked to do things like this, but usually it's, can you fly to blah, blah, blah place? And, sometimes I can, often I can, but often, just as often as I can, there's many times that I can't. And so now there's no flying anywhere. So it's like, can you get on a Zoom or can you get into Altspace? Yes, I can find it.
And she's all yes. Well,
yeah.
What companies or sectors are using virtual collaboration successfully, or if you don't know any that are, what would be to you, like, what are some things that companies should think of? Should I do virtual, like VR, or should I do the Zoom, Hangout, Skype type of thing?
Well, so there's a couple of different ways we think about this. So the industries that we focus on and we've been focused on within the virtual reality landscape at HP are architecture, engineering, construction, and product design. So that's and within that, there's architecture, engineering, construction, and then within product design, there's automotive. There's really, any type of product that's being created, right? From any type of company, aviation, a train company we work with in that environment. So that's one. So and what's really interesting about that whole sector, and I think that there's strong interest in collaboration because you create efficiencies around designing and reviewing what you're creating. So you're already working with 3D models. You're already working in this spatial, a spatial landscape. But now, in addition to the model and the product being looked at and reviewed and created, designed, experience reviewed in 3D, you're also in virtual reality with it. So we see a lot of companies very strongly, working in VR in that area. Pretty much all the automotive companies do their design review in VR. We see that 65% of architecture firms use virtual reality in their pipeline process. So those industries, we see really strong acceptance and utilization of VR. And then collaboration just makes it even more efficient, right? So then you and I can look at the model together, and so by the time we print out like the clay model of the car or whatever it is, we've already all agreed on a lot. We're a lot further along. So we've worked with airports that are doing their design review. We work with trains. We work with, I can go on and on about the type of project. Right. So that's a big bucket. So AEC and product review. Another big bucket is healthcare, and so it's healthcare for a lot of reasons, but definitely around healthcare and training. And so where you see whether it's surgeons, it's nurses, it's other healthcare workers being trained in VR because the retention rates are so much higher. And then some of that overlaps a little bit with what we see around schools, where we can have a biology lesson or a physics lesson or a chemistry lesson and be learning in a spatial way.
I mean, how cool
I did
is
a great
that?
class in Engage the other day.
I saw that. You did like a whole body.
Spleen and so there's healthcare, there's education, there is training. Some of these overlap in some ways. And then in training, we see anywhere where the experience could be dangerous, it could be expensive, it could be far away, right? So, for example, the armed forces or first responders or oil and gas, going out on an oil and gas rig, or even a kitchen with a hot kitchen. All of those experiences, people can get trained in VR, and in many of those cases, especially first responder and military, you're going to be trained in a multiplayer or experience. So,
Right.
so there's that collaboration. And
Mhm.
so with the point being that by the time you put somebody in that experience, it's going to be dangerous, or that is that they've already been trained in VR and have that muscle memory of what it's going to be like. And so they're much, much better prepared for it when it comes to real life. And then the last, that we focused on is location-based entertainment,
Right.
which is, has a multiplayer, but it's less about VR collaboration right now, as most of them are temporarily closed. So I would say the first four of AEC product dev, training, higher ed, and then anything healthcare related is where we're seeing a lot of pickup for VR collaboration. A lot of
Wow.
focus.
With all these platforms that you've tried, do you feel like they're all created equal, or do you think that each one has a good set, each sector could work well with a specific platform?
Well, they're not all the same. Some of them are very specific in, we are focusing on architecture, engineering, construction. Other ones are very specific on, we're focused on meeting collaboration. Other ones are very focused on product design review. So I think I would say that there's, and the other ones are very focused on creating the best educational experience, and then of course there's ones that are more focused on social VR, and
Right.
creating that social
Woo!
connection. Shut up. So here we are. So I would say that there's differences in terms of what is the company's target demo and what are they looking to create. There's differences in terms of maybe how far along they are, and how far along they are. There's some that are in beta still. There's some that have been rolled out as a product for a few years already and are much more stable, or maybe more financing behind them. So I wouldn't say that there's I would say there's definitely something for everyone, and that
Right.
and I would also say that right now there's a lot of rapid change because there's so much interest among them.
Mm-hmm.
And then also they have there's very different business models. So some of them, that are focused and targeted on enterprise may have quite a, looking at a SaaS model and quite a high price tag if you're going to use it as an individual, but, certainly would not be cost.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I hear you
I
now.
think I accidentally muted myself. I was just saying that
That happens all the time here at the Hive.
It happens
We
all the
ourselves.
time. I know.
Right?
But then the other thing that I think is really important, that just to underline, is that there still are fairly high-ish barriers to entry. Some of the platforms you can have a great experience just straight from your desktop or from your mobile phone, but it's not quite it's good, but maybe not quite as good as going fully on in headset. And so and then today the way the avatars are today, there's an upside of bringing that no matter what, you look great.
It's so nice.
You can look like yourself, or you can create your sort of imaginary fantasy version of yourself. There's ones like VR chat where you can be a hot dog, where you can be a fox, or you can be a mushroom, which is always fun. But but then on the other hand, it's harder to see expression. It's harder. There's certainly presence and interactivity, but you don't. There is today. Most of the avatars aren't quite super expressive. That's why we use these emojis, and but there's I think there's companies that are very focused on emotive avatars, expressive avatars, and continuing to really push the technology and so that some of what we might lose by
Battery low.
VR that you might have when you're in, say, Zoom or Skype or Teams, continue to push the technology forward, so we also have that in VR.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I know why
that's a big focus for us, and something we're looking at heavily in many other companies as well.
That's right. I mean, it is a lot, and there's many different platforms, and to have to just
Charging
adapt so
battery.
quickly from doing what you were doing, traveling the world, going to events, going to conferences, speaking, all of that, and adapting so quickly to get things done. I mean, that's why you're top woman in VR, and 50 women who can change media. That it's just such a great it's such a great opportunity to be able to sit here with you and hear that, because, virtual collaboration is so important, especially we're lucky we have the tools that we could still connect with others and also learn. And you mentioned at one of your Tech Cat podcasts how you were, walking, you were really walking the walk. I think you were drinking your own champagne.
Oh yeah, that's what expression
Right?
we like to use at HP. Like some people say, eat your own dog food, but we don't like to eat dog food. So we like to say the drinking our own champagne, and we've done a lot of that. Lots of people in the audience like to eat dog food. It looks like they all put their tongues out. So we've done things from train our. We have big 3D printers and big printers at HP, and so we've trained our printer technicians in virtual reality, which is caught because of their attention.
Wow.
It cuts the time of training from I think something like 7 days to 3 or 4 days. Which obviously ends up saving the company a lot of money, and their attention is higher.
Absolutely.
So we have somebody who comes out to to fix the printer that would have even better knowledge because they have that experience of feeling like they're doing. And so that's something we did a while.
And you're also doing it for COVID, right? I mean, you're even doing it to print out medical devices and support the.
But that's not virtual reality related. That's using our 3D printing technology.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Some of the people in the model shop used the 3D printing technology to create a bunch of different things that are needed in hospitals and with healthcare workers, and then used our 3D printers plus. I don't know if we have a picture of it somewhere. I don't know if it's here, but plus the printer network to have as many people as possible printing out the pieces, and then we also have a place that the hospitals can sign up to receive what was 3D printed.
And if you guys need that link or want to use that link and share it, we've posted it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/the Hive, and we put it on Twitter to share out, because it's just such a wonderful VR for good story that you guys are doing. That's really brilliant. And you started it a while ago. I saw this probably 2 weeks.
It was 2 people in the model shop in Fort Collins, which is where one of our big offices. And I think they started doing this just within a couple of days of everything that was, once we started seeing that we were going towards a shutdown and what was happening in the country. So big shout out. Their names are Matt and Brian. Big shout out.
Go Matt and Brian. So as we, really quick, I just want to know, and during your free time, I know you like Zumba, but what are some of the things that you're doing for virtual collaboration for fun?
What am I doing for fun these days? Well, I mean, it all kind of blends together. I don't know if you guys have that experience. I never know what day it is. I never know what time it is.
Groundhog Day.
Last week I couldn't believe it was the weekend already. This week I'm like, is it the weekend yet? It's an unusual time for all of us, right? And first just grateful that I'm healthy and grateful that I have the luxury of being able to still do my job from home and all of that. But so I guess these days it's a lot of doing WhatsApp calls and trails and house party and Skype, and what else? Zoom calls with friends and with family, and then doing live Instagram workouts and YouTube workouts and Zoom workouts. So Zumba is actually founded in Miami. You probably know that. And I used to take class with founder years and years and years and years ago when I lived here. Yeah, that's so. And then now I find myself taking these live Facebook feeds or Zoom feeds or Instagram feeds, and the teacher was in the Netherlands one day that I found. And I was like, this is so funny because I'm physically in Miami today, right now, and I'm taking a class. So I'm taking a class that was founded in Miami by Beto, who I used to take class from, but now I'm taking it from a teacher teaching in the Netherlands. I'm like, the world is very global. So
global
like
head
that.
of VR. Right here.
And then it's just, but I feel in some ways even more connected with friends and family. And then I'm certainly, like last night we were in XR Social Club, in VR chat. I don't know if any of you guys
Yeah,
are
you're
in
on
the Facebook
LinkedIn
group.
too.
XR Social Club, but I recommend it. It's always a really, really fun group. So come and join us there. I don't know, what are you guys
Great.
doing for fun? I mean, I'd love to hear what else people are doing.
All
Oh, we
right, well,
do
let's open
daily
it up to the
sing-along on
questions.
Zoom, a daily happy hour sing-along. I don't know.
Definitely,
Try to
yes.
keep it. Oh, and I've done Daybreaker a few times. I've done Dance Church. Just try to keep. I try to keep it like interesting and while still
Fresh.
staying within the same the walls of a great apartment with has a lovely view.
How many places can you go? And by the way,
Exactly.
everybody, you can, to your right, you could see on your menu just to click to raise your hand if you have any questions.
We have a question from the king of participation, Bobby Carlton.
Woo!
Oh, here for the king.
Hey,
Hey.
can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I guess I am the king of participation. Hi, Joanna. Hi,
Hi.
Navah. Thanks
Hi.
for speaking. So I actually have a question on location-based entertainment. Before, obviously, the coronavirus and everything happened, location-based entertainment was sort of on schedule, predicted to grow about 33% by 2025. Roughly like a $1.5 billion industry. And from your point of view, and from HP's point of view, where do you see location-based entertainment going? This being cinemas and theme parks and places like the Void. Where do you see it going in that direction with the impact of coronavirus and also beyond that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Most of the companies that we work with are temporarily closed, and not because it's VR, but because most places around the world right now, the family entertainment center, the cruises, the arcades, the movie theaters are just closed in general. So I think that what's not known right now is how long we're going to be in this period. How long it's going to be that governments and U.S. governors and mayors are asking us to stay home and asking all these businesses not to be open. And so I think the overarching impact on the businesses will depend on how long we're in this state. So if it's shorter, there'll be less of an overall impact. If it's longer, there's probably going to be more of an overall impact on the businesses.
Okay, and I guess and I apologize. So my question is if the coronavirus hadn't happened, if we were still sort of going through life as if everything was normal, where do you see location-based entertainment being beyond 2023?
Well, today I think like if coronavirus hadn't happened, my general point of view on location-based entertainment and what I love about it so much is that I believe most people get their first really amazing virtual reality experience in location-based entertainment, and for a variety of reasons, right? That it the experiences are social, they're collaborative. She's the word.
Definitely.
You don't necessarily use that word not so much around LBE, but they're social. You're basically spending somewhere between $10 and $50 to have a really fun time with your friends and family. It's for sort of the price of a ticket. And you have somebody else who picks the content for you in many cases, not in all, but in many. And you have or curates it, and then you have somebody else who sets up the technology, troubleshoots the technology if there's any issues with it, and they also adapt many of the best elements of theme parks and everything that's been learned out of from Disney Imagineers and Universal Studios and all the other places. And so I think that many people have that first best experience that exposes them to the immersion, the power, the interactivity, the magic, the unicornness, right? To use
the
word
unicorn
today, that virtual reality and immersive computing can bring. And so, I see that trend. Overall, I see that it's really empowering and a catalyst for our industry. I think right now we're in, so that's what that, if you asked me the question a month ago, which is the context of the question, like how would it have been if we weren't in this situation? And so I think that it would continue to have that power, and to, you know, be this great introduction for people into VR. So I think the numbers in the US are
Absolutely.
something like only 6% of people in the US have experienced virtual reality, right? So we still have another 96% or so, or
Wow.
94% or so of people to bring into our world. And so I believe LBE is popping up, location-based entertainment venues popping up, you know, all across the country and the world. You know, we're doing that work on, you know, on behalf of the industry.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate the response.
Sure. Thanks for the question.
Our next question comes from Georgiana.
Hi.
Hi.
How do you feel about COVID-19 and how do you cope with yourself through COVID-19?
Like on a personal level?
On a personal
You mean
level,
like
how do you feel?
from working, like from working, traveling and all that, and now being home?
Yes, like the change. How do you feel like that things have changed, like different setting and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, so first, obviously, you know, so how do I feel about it? It's a global pandemic. So that's, you know, frightening and disturbing and not something that any one of us would have wanted. And, you know, I'm sure we all wish that healthcare officials and governments and, you know, other people who are, you know, responsible for protecting us all had some, you know, in certain places taken different actions or certain actions sooner, or, you know, and it's different in different countries, obviously, and in different states. So, you know, so there's that, right? That's the reality of the situation, and you know, there's a lot of uncertainty around how long is this going to go, and then there's uncertainty, you know, depending on, you know, each individual's personal health. There's probably also, you know, depending on lots, you know, there's probably a lot of fear, right? Like, is, you know, what is this, am I going to get it? Are people I love going to get it? What's going to happen? You know, what happens if I get it? You know, I have friends I have a friend who already lost her life due to the pandemic.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I have another really, really good friend who's sick right now, with a young son. So we're, you know, trying to support her, and we're trying to get food over to them. But it's this weird thing that, like, we can only drop off food or like outside, right? I have another really good friend who's an ER doctor at Cedars-Sinai. So she's doing the hero's work, working with COVID patients every day. So no matter what, I think any one of our personal situations are, it's a lot, right? And I just talked about the healthcare side, right? There's many, you know, I think it was 6 million people, and I don't know if there's a lot of people from other countries. I'm giving a lot of U.S. information because that's where I live right now, but you know, I think it's something like 6 million people filed for unemployment right now. I mean,
yeah, it was
huge number in the US.
6.6 million today.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's across all these industries, right? It's retail, it's restaurants, it's production has been shut down, right? And most Hollywood, you know, like the shows that are still going on, like Trevor Noah, and then, you know, all the late night shows, and Susanna B, and I saw SNL.
I love the way they look.
Yeah,
they're
but you know, they're just doing Zooms or, you know, or whatever, like filming themselves in
FaceTimes.
Like all the people that had production jobs, you know, or not all, a lot of those people aren't in their jobs, right?
Right.
So there's this huge economic impact also, to me, which comes after the medical impact. But so I guess it's big and it's scary and it's a lot of uncertainty. And then as an individual, and there's not a lot we can control besides follow the medical professional's advice, stay home, wear your mask, wash your hands, stay away from other people. You know, if you're going to be around people, only be around the people that you live with, that like you've all decided that, you know, you two or you four or however many people live in your house are going to be around each other, and you're going to help each other through. So that, you know, that's I'm just repeating advice that people who work in this field say. That's not, you know, it's not my area of expertise. So I think it's important to listen to the experts, the people who actually are medical professionals or public health officials. And then I think it's, you know, everyone copes with uncertainty in a different way. And whether, if you're working right now, you have something to put your mind to. If you're not working because you're in one of those many industries that, we just talked about that's impacted, it's probably about thinking about what's next and how you can still use your skill set for now, while you have some extra time, and but at the same time, that's a scary environment, right? And then, but I think most, like, just doing the self-care and like doing your self-care both on the side of the health, like the washing the hands and all of that, but also on your mental health. So, whether it's, spending virtual time with friends and family, not time, but virtual time, or, watching some of your favorite shows or listening to your favorite podcasts, or doing meditation or doing VR meditation. I love Trip VR, for
Yes.
the headset.
Mhm.
Linnea Reeves and her team are amazing. I love Trip VR to put you in flow state. Deepak Chopra
Yeah, I
has
tried
amazing
that. It's great.
meditations. Figuring out a way to exercise even though you're not moving or going to the gym.
And I think there's even one in Altspace, the Evolver has a meditation.
Workout. Yeah, I mean, there's
also.
like
Yeah.
Saber, there's Freed, there's
Mhm.
there's a lot of. So I think
You can go
it's important
listen to music
try to keep
too.
listen to music. I mean, but everything I'm saying, it really depends on each individual, like what keeps each individual healthy and sane and as grounded and focusing as much on things that keep you productive
Absolutely.
and positive, because we can't impact the world outside right now in a big way, except for following the things of like flatten the curve, stay at home, and wash your hands, wear a mask.
That was
I
a
don't know
great
if that's
answer.
a helpful
Yes.
answer, but
That's a great answer. 100%. We have a couple more questions, right, Kenny?
We're gonna actually just do one more question because we're already 13 minutes over time. So our last question is gonna come from Hermit.
Hermit. Hi,
Charging
Hermit.
battery.
Hello.
Yes.
All right, excellent. So, I'm a location-based VR professional, and of course, my arcade has been closed during all this. So, I'm having a hard time coming by income and using my skills. And so, I was wondering how you think that somebody like me should best put forth ourselves so that people can hire us for various jobs, or that we can show people what we can do in VR.
What's your functional? So first, I'm sorry that your arcade's closed.
It happens.
So I'm sorry to hear that. But what's your functional expertise like prior? Wait, actually, there's one thing I want to say before, and it kind of goes back to the last question, but then also it's going to be about this question. The other thing, what I would say is that, those of us who are working, and I don't know if that everyone in here actually works in immersive computing, but obviously in some way you're early adopter or fans, and many of you may work in the field. That something about the people that work in this field, we're very future facing. Otherwise, or whether you're early adopter or you work in the field, you're future facing. You've been very focused on what's coming. I've noticed that people tend to be very idealist and very dreamy, very creative, very innovative, and having that like amazing blend of technology and creative together, which is all things that I love about this industry. But we're also very agile, right? Like most of us, and probably fairly flexible. And a couple of years ago, it looked like VR was going to all be, to have numbers like Facebook type growth or Netflix type growth at home. And then it looked like, oh wait, it's not going to happen. And lots of people pivoted more towards LBE because they wanted to make use their skills that way. And then also maybe look, no, enterprise, there's a lot of more ROI in enterprise, maybe we use our skill set there. So I would say that overall the people that are passionate about this industry have that ability to look towards the future, to see what's coming, and to be agile. So I would just give a big shout out to everybody in this room for already having that mindset and those skill set and that ability to have come into this industry, and then those same skills and passion and idealism are going to help propel you into whatever is next, whether it's specifically in this industry right now or in something else as well. So that's the first thing I would say, right? And then the other thing I would say is that while some of us may have been in this industry 40 years in one way or the other, most people probably haven't. Who's been in this industry longer than 10 years? 2 people. Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome. So for most people, you may have had another industry that you came from. You know, like there's people from gaming, there's people from animation, from production. You know, I came from television and tech. There's people from immersive theater, you know, and so many different things. So for, you know, it's like, what is that functional skill set that you have, or what are some of the other things that you can do? And then how do you apply that either in this, or, you know, how do you think more about how to apply what you've learned recently and to the future? And I'm happy if you want to ping me like on Twitter or LinkedIn or somewhere else, you know, to talk more and more about your personal situation and what you want to do. If we're, I'm happy to have that conversation.
Wow,
So
you're so
Trying to give a
amazing.
little bit more of a general answer for the room.
Oh, of course, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. VR
But
for good.
definitely all the social platforms
Literally.
help, I think, connect. There's like, I've seen 3 different lists of Google spreadsheets of people looking, of jobs that are remote, of jobs that there are people trying to connect people in the immersive industry, immersive computing industry with jobs in the immersive computing industry. And then a third one of like just remote marketing and strategy jobs. So I don't know if any of those 3 are up your alley, but, you know, I've seen these spreadsheets floating around. There's a lot of people trying to help people reconnect their skill set with jobs that are available. But please ping me and we can chat more.
You're the best. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody for coming. Everybody at YouTube who were still around, and you know, Joanna, thank you so much. VR for good.
Thank you for hosting me.
3D printers, offering your help and great answers about, you know, what people feel like in today's climate. It really was great. So round of applause for Joanna. Thank you for
Round
coming
of
to the
applause for
Hive
you
this
too.
week.
Thank you for putting on this great show every week. Look at
The
audience.
Hive.
Oh, awesome.
And you can find Joanna on Twitter at Joanna Popper.
Yeah.
Her name is right on that wall over there, in case you don't know how to spell
It's
it.
easy to
And-
on Instagram, on Twitter, it's always at Joanna Popper.
Joanna
So
Popper,
pretty-
smart. And next week I'll be having Paige Danziger from Better World Museum. She'll be talking
Awesome.
about how drawing together can help you through, you know, through things like what's going on today, and also all problems that you might have, but also boost your creativity and better your life for the Better
I love
World
it.
Museum.
That'll be a good one.
Yes, thank you again, and
Round of applause
that's
for
all.
you.
Let's go
Thanks for being
well,
thanks for being such a great host.
oh, you're the best. Thank you. That's it. Go Joanna. Go Joanna. Pump up the music, right?
Yeah, very
It's like
fun.
South Beach, right?